How's it going, everybody, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be working on the survey form, which is a project that's a part of the new responsive web design packet for FreeCodeCamp. The objective is to build an app that is functionally similar to the one that they offer here, which we will click. So something like this, where you'll put your name, email, and age, and which option best describes your current role, and then two other questions, etc., with the submit button. So let's get to it. Now for this project, you can make it based on anything you want. Pick something that you're interested in, something that you would actually go out and perform a survey on a topic that you're interested in, whether it's art, sports, whatever. For me, I did mine related to vehicles and cars and sports cars and whatnot. So at the end of this, you'll kind of get to see what mine is all about. So let's get started. So first things first, start with our doc type HTML declaration. Language. It's not requiring us to do these, but just as a standard, you want to do this obviously on your projects anytime you're writing HTML. Your doc type declaration, your language, your char set to UTF-8, link it to your style sheet with your styles, CSS, and then we'll get started. So you should have a title page and an H1 element with an ID of title. So for me, I'm going to make my survey on exotic cars, and the topic that I'm going to be discussing, or the question that my survey is going to be asking, the main question is going to be, what is your favorite exotic car brand? So that's what I'm going to put in the title. You should have a short explanation in the P element with an ID of description. So we'll do In the description, we're going to put, you know, whatever you want to explain what your survey is about. So feel free to write whatever you want. So in my description, I just put, today we are finding out what is everyone's favorite exotic car brand to compare brand popularity levels. So just something simple, something basic, something that relates to your survey question. You should have a form element with the ID of survey form. Okay. Inside the form element, you are required to enter your name in an input field that has an ID name and a type of text. So we're going to make a div with a class of input element, and inside it, inside our div, we're going to put a label with an ID of name label, and name. Underneath that, we're going to place an input. So inside the form element, you are required to enter your name in an input field that has an ID of name and a type of text. Inside the form element, you are required to enter your email in an input field that has an ID of email. If you enter an email that is not formatted correctly, you will see an HTML5 validation error. Okay, so input ID equals name, text, so type equals text, placeholder equals name, and required there's that. Inside the form, you can enter a number in an input field that has an ID of number. The number input should not accept non-numbers, either by preventing you from typing them or showing an HTML5 validation error. If you enter numbers outside the range of the number input, which are defined by a minimum and a maximum attributes, you will see an error. Okay, so same thing. Start with another div, the class of input element. Create a label with an ID of email label. Email. Create an input. So placeholder. An ID of email. Type of email. And a required. For the name, email, and number inputs, name, email, and number input fields, you can see the corresponding label elements in the form that describe the purpose of each field with the following IDs. ID equals name label, ID equals email label, and ID equals number label. Correct. For the name, email, and number input fields, you can see placeholder text that gives you a description or instructions for each field. And we've got that right there. Inside the form element, you should have a select drop-down element with an ID of drop-down and at least 2 options to choose from. Okay, so well, before we do anything like that, we need to finish this off by creating another input element, and that one is going to be for age. So create another div with a class of input element. And then inside the div, we're going to create a label with an ID of number label. And inside the label, we're going to put age. And then we're going to create our input with a placeholder of age, an ID of number, with a minimum, let's say we'll go with 13, and a max of 100, and the type is going to be text with a required. There you go. So we've got name, email, and age. We're going to create a select drop down and a select element with at least 2 options to choose from. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with another div with a class equaling input element. And inside that div, we're going to create a label with an ID of a select label. And inside that label, for me, the question I'm going to ask is, it's going to be the main question, which is in our title. What is your favorite exotic car brand? So we're going to put, what is your favorite exotic car brand? Question mark. And then underneath that, we're going to create our select element with an ID of drop down, because that's what we want. And inside that, we're going to create at least two. I made 4 drop down options. So we're going to create option and I'm just going to copy paste this a few times. And the first option I'm going to put is Ferrari. The second one I'm going to put Lamborghini. The third option I'm going to put Aston Martin. The fourth option I will put Porsche. Okay, let's see. So inside the form element, you can select an option from a group of at least 2 radio buttons that are grouped inside using the name attribute. Inside the form element, you can select several fields from a series of checkboxes, each of which must have a value attribute. Inside the form element, you are presented with a text area for additional comments, and after that, you are presented with a button with an ID of submit, so they want a submit button. Okay, so we're just gonna ask like a separate question where you can respond like in a text area. So we'll create a label. Well, first we'll create a div, and inside our new div we'll create a label. And the question we'll ask is, have you driven an exotic car before? Question mark. And then they want at least 2 radio buttons. And this question kind of works out perfect for it because you can either answer yes or no. So we're going to create a new div. And inside the div, we're going to create a new label. And inside that label, we're going to create an input with a type of a radio, name, car, and value equaling yes. We're going to put yes there. So you can either answer yes or no. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy this, go underneath here, repeat it, and the only thing I'm going to change is yes to no. So now we have an option of yes or no with 2 radio buttons. Then they want you to do the same thing, a little bit similar. They want you to ask another question, but they want you to offer an answer as a checkbox. So we're going to go down here and we're going to create another div. And inside the div, we're going to create another label. And Inside the label, let's create an input with a type of a checkbox, name, ideas, and a value of. So what I'm going to do is my question is going to be, hold on, we didn't do this right. Let me first answer my question. So my question is going to be, how many cylinders should an exotic car have? Meaning, should it be a 12 cylinder? Should it be a 10 cylinder? Should it be an 8 cylinder? Should it be a 6 cylinder? What do you personally think? What kind of engine should an exotic car have? So now we'll go back here and we'll close this off and create a new div. And inside there, we'll create a new label. And with that, we'll create an input. With a type of checkbox, name of ideas, and a value equaling 12. And then it'll be 12 cylinders for our first option. Then I'm going to copy and paste this. Repeat it one more time, one more time, one more time. So we have a total of 4 checkboxes. And I'm going to change this to 10. Meaning 12 cylinders, 10 cylinders, and then the next one is going to be 8 cylinders and then 6 cylinders. So how many cylinders should an exotic car have? 12 cylinders, 10 cylinders, 8 cylinders, or 6 cylinders? Those are my 4 checkboxes. Those are the 4 options that I'm providing the survey taker to give as an answer. And then after that, they want you to provide a text area for any additional comments. So what we'll do is we'll create another div. Inside that div, we'll create a new label. And for the div, we need to create a class, and it's going to be an input element. And inside the label, we're going to put additional comments. And then underneath that, we'll create our text area. And then underneath that, we need to create our submit button. So we're going to use the button and give it a type of submit with an ID of submit. And use our closing tag. And at the bottom it just says be sure to link it to your style CSS, which we've already done up here all the way at the top. So at this point we have pretty much everything that they're asking for. We just need to go to our CSS and kind of style everything to make it look more presentable. We've got our title, our explanation, where the surveyor can put their name, email, and age. What's your favorite exotic car brand? And have you driven an exotic car before? Yes or no? How many cylinders should an exotic car have? If you have any additional comments, with our submit button. So now we'll go to our style CSS. Get rid of our that. And first we'll start with working on the body. We'll do a background color of let's get interesting. We'll do green, and we'll do a text align of center. That'll make everything look a lot better. And then after that we'll work on our form, and we'll do a max width of 500 pixels and a text align to left, because we want our questions to be all the way on the left. And then we'll add some padding of 20 pixels. That kind of makes it look not so close to the edge, which is better. And then we'll create a border of 2 pixels. We want it to be solid and black. And last but not least, let's give it a border radius of 10 pixels. There we go. So then we can work on our input elements and give it padding of 5 pixels. We don't want a border, so we're going to put none. And a border radius of 5 pixels. Yeah, that'll make it look way better. Let's give these some space. Okay. After our input, we want our input element class, input element, and we'll do a display of flex. And we'll do a flex direction of column. And we'll give it a margin of, say, 10 pixels. There we go. It's starting to kind of get better. Like, we're starting to get some separation between our input elements in terms of spacing and margins. Then we'll go down to our select element and do some work to that. We'll add some padding of about 5 pixels. For border, we don't want any border. And then we'll do a border radius of 5 pixels as well. And then last but not least, we need to do our input with the type checkbox and work on that. So we'll do input type equals checkbox. Don't forget your parentheses. And we'll do a width of, let's say, 15 pixels and a height of Let's see what 10 does. We'll do 15, make it equal. There we go. And I think that is all that we need to do. Let's see if it asks us for anything else. Let's run it. Okay, let's see what errors we have. You should have an H1 element with an ID of title. Your title should not be empty. Let's go up. Let's see what we did wrong. Okay, I see what we did wrong. I missed a parentheses right here. There we go. So now let's run it again. Okay, we got that taken care of. Let's see what else we are missing. Your number should have a type of number. Let's see. Make this a little bit bigger. Oh, type of number. There we go. I think that'll be it. Let's see. Let's run it again. And there you have it, guys. Like I said, this is a really cool challenge. The idea of it is for you to get creative and kind of make it your own. And one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video is when you're looking at the step-by-step requirements for the survey or for the project, when you come down here, these are all the tests that it's going to run. And if any of these don't have a check mark, it's going to tell you specifically what your issue is. And 99% of the time, it's little errors or mistakes like that in terms of grammar or like a placement or missing closing, you know, on an element or anything like that, or you put the wrong word. So don't get frustrated. Just give it some time and make it your own. Like I said, for me, I'm just interested in cars and everything like that, so I just wanted to make, you know, a little survey about cars, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully you pass your survey form, and give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.